Just as the ear receives sounds, the mind receives thoughts. In this practice, our goal will be to notice sounds and thoughts in perspective, that is, from a curious and gentle distance. This process of gaining awareness is a workout so that we can have more conscious behaviors in our lives as we stop reacting automatically to the stimuli that arrive in the mind, be they external as sounds or internal as thoughts. We will start by sitting in a position that favors an alert and vigilant mental state. Now, start to focus your attention on your hearing. Open your perception to hear the sounds that arise. Receive and welcome the sounds as they come and go. Notice how many sounds are present around you. The sounds up close, the sounds from far away, the sounds in front of you, the sounds behind you, next to you, above or below you, and even the sounds made by you. Receive these sounds. Perceive your body as an amplifier of these sounds, receiving every sound and allowing its waves and vibrations to go through you. Tune in the waves of each sound, the volume, the duration. Notice the natural tendency of the mind to judge sounds as either pleasant or unpleasant. Observe the mental tendency to hold on to sounds that are considered pleasant, clinging to them, and to move away and control sounds that seem unpleasant. Bring attention and curiosity to perceive the sounds. Arouse your interest in the details of the sounds, the peculiarities of each one. Notice how distraction easily arises, creating little stories about the sounds. Remain vigilant. Notice what your mind does and renew your curiosity for the sounds as they are. Instead of thinking about the sounds, remain with the sensory experience provoked by them. See if it's really possible to hear the sounds, their rhythms, volumes, repetitions, intervals. Try to hear each sound as if it were the first time. Is it possible to hear the sounds as if they were new to you? See if you can notice that As your mind focuses on one sound, others become muffled and less clear. Can you notice an instant of silence between sounds? Can you notice the moments when a sound appears and later vanishes? Also, contemplate for a few moments your ability to notice so many things. And now, leaving the sounds aside, let's direct our attention to thoughts. What thoughts are present here and now? Any? None? They may be thoughts about some past or future event, or about what you are doing now. Can you notice that, depending on the thought, a different emotion arises? Maybe positive, negative, or neutral. See how maybe even a reflex arises in the body. Approach what is happening now with curiosity and openness until all of this passes again. Don't forget that if at any time this practice becomes confusing or difficult, you can just return to the breath as an anchor of your conscious presence. If necessary, notice your breath for a few moments and then return to the exercise. Try to observe the moment when thoughts appear. Notice how long they last and when they dissolve. Simply observe the thoughts as being simply mental events going through your head, without chatting with them, thinking about them, or striving to scare them away. You can use a metaphor and notice these thoughts passing by as if they were clouds in the sky, adopting a posture of observation of your own mind. Your mind is the sky, and your thoughts are the clouds. If some thoughts bring intense, pleasurable, or painful emotions, notice this emotional charge, its intensity, its location in the body, doing the best you can with curiosity and openness, breathing with the emotion until it passes. If your mind at some point is captured by a thought or gets lost inside of it and can no longer just observe, acknowledge for an instant that this has happened and kindly congratulate yourself on having awakened from this process. Then renew your intention to observe these mental events as they arise. Remain for an instant and dissolve in the natural flow of impermanence. Everything flowing like clouds in the sky. As you finish the practice, you will notice again the sounds and the sensations of the body breathing as a whole. Open your eyes and notice the visual stimuli gently moving your body. Try to bring this quality of attention to the stimuli that arrive in your field of consciousness in your day-to-day life.